Hey everyone, welcome to the MotoAlliance podcast. This is Peter Kapsner. I'm here as always with partner in crime, Kevin Book, the general manager of MotoAlliance. Kevin, good to see you.
Good to see you today as well.
Right, and we are here with one of our favorite people, Dean Schliek from the Minnesota ATV riding community. He's got a great Facebook page. Dean, are you up to like 1 billion people now? Are you sort of almost the size of China on the Facebook page at this point?
Not quite. We're up just over 28,000, about 28.5. Probably hit about 30,000 by the end of the summer. So pretty good following.
I mean, and people, is it word of mouth primarily that people find out about you? And you seem like you know all 28 to 30,000 of them too.
Well, we do get a lot of interaction on the page. So, and it is all word of mouth, and people will ride with somebody and say, "Hey, I seen this on Minnesota ATV Riders page," and then people who aren't on the page, well, then we get a lot of members that join Monday, Tuesday, part of the week because they went out this weekend and had a good time and met some people and just kind of networked that way. And that's what we're all about. Well,
and I know our time is a little short today compared to some of the past times we've had with you, but that was one of the things we wanted to follow up with, is that you did have a pretty big weekend ride here recently in the Ride the Shore event. And we talked about what you expected leading up to it, but how did it go? And I know one part of it is that the weather wasn't maybe as ideal as you would have hoped for.
Yeah, it was still, we went from Wednesday and Thursday, in central Minnesota and southern Minnesota, 95 degrees to by Friday afternoon, we were scooting around up on the North Shore and it was like 58 degrees. So,
wow.
So in a matter of just a couple of days, we went from one extreme kind of to the other, but it was much appreciated. We got a little bit of rain, so it knocked all the dust down, and I think everybody was kind of burnt out on 95 degrees. So it was a good little change.
Wow. So one of the conversations that we have is we're obviously working on our Highlands cargo line and, soliciting a lot of the feedback from you and the folks that you know. But on a ride like that, where you're varying in temperatures from as high as 90s down to 50s, is this when you really start to realize storage is a premium?
That was such a good plug for the Highlands Cargo, by the way. Yeah. I just want to make a note of that, Dean. That was so good.
That was good. Kevin, he's getting this figured out. No, but he's 100% right. Because up there, you've got so much elevation change that you start out in the morning and you're right next to the Lake Superior, and it's it's 10, 12, 15 degrees colder than on the other side of the hill, and you start out and you're wearing your jacket or a hooded sweatshirt, or in this situation, a lot of people had their rain gear, because it was kind of raining and misting. Well, then by lunchtime, by noon, 1 o'clock, the sun's out and it's 70, 75 degrees. And then by the time you get back, it's, back into the 60s with a little bit of rain. And so it was perfect to have those weatherproof storage containers to carry all that gear, because you had so much variety of temperature and conditions during the day. You can always pack it and not need it, but you definitely want to have it.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but when it gets above 90 here in Minnesota, we're a Minnesota company too. I know you know that, Dean, but I can't imagine riding in Louisiana. We have a lot of dealer partners in that neck of the woods, and they're regularly at like 110 and humid. I can't imagine being buttoned up in a Razor and riding at that temperature.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's definitely not the funnest. That's why got to bust out the Ranger with the AC.
That's right.
Nice luxury.
Oh man, we have puzzled over trying to create an aftermarket AC kit for all of these different machines that don't come out of the factory, and it's just impossible to get the kind of condenser that's required attached to the engine and have any space for that. But if somebody could figure that out, I know there's some rooftop options out there, but have you ever seen anything, Dean, that works to cool these cabs a little bit if it's not out of the factory?
No, I haven't. There's so much that goes into it with the secondary output shaft and the alternators. And I mean, I've seen guys that run like a swamp cooler where they'll put a little fan inside of tube and then pump it into a cooler full of ice, but then it's just moisture on top of moisture.
I tried to build one of
Then you
those for
run
my
out of
old
battery
vehicle.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
We actually, I shouldn't say this out loud, but we actually got a patent on a design along those lines, Dean. We never did anything with it, but we were going to try to run the air through our Firestorm heater core from the ice bucket in the back. And let's just say it seemed like, jankety at very best.
There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to an AC unit. So,
For sure.
it's a lot harder than just cooling down some air and blowing it in your face,
Dean, what year was this for Ride the Shore? How many had you done?
So this was our fifth annual Ride the Shore, and we do it every year. And all the we've got a bunch of gear that we sell, limited shirts that we print for the event, and we get help from great companies like you guys with our sponsorship, and we are able to generate funds, and we take all of our proceeds from the weekend and all of the sales from that gear, and we donate it to the Silver Bay Veterans Home. So it's kind of our way of giving back and saying thank you, not just to our veterans, but to the whole community for being ATV friendly community in our state.
It's so cool. If you can look back with the 5 years that you've had with this running now, and you just look at this latest one that we're coming off of, if there's a trend that you're seeing right now within the industry, what trend was most present during the ride?
I would say definitely the growth of the side by sides and the amount of machines that we had up there that were multi-person machines. The 4-seaters and the 6-seaters, and you can really see the trend where it's turning into a lot of family sport.
Sure.
You're getting a lot of families out there that people bring all the kids come with, and it's good to see.
That's so cool.
Did you get your eyes on the new Polaris Expedition at this ride, or was it somewhere different? Because when we were talking before we got started here, you said you got a chance to take a spin in one of these new vehicles that Polaris came out with.
Yeah, I got a chance to take one for a spin at the dealership just down the road, and the first one they got off the truck, so it was actually they just put it together that morning, and
how do you get wait a second, how do you get to be the first one to get it off the truck? Do you camp out? I mean, like, what do you do?
So that was honestly just the luck of the draw. I had to go into the dealership to begin with, and when I got there, they're like, "Oh man, you should check this out." And we just put it together this morning. So
if they had a camp out option, would you have done that?
100%.
Okay, because back in high school, Pearl Harbor came out in the theaters, and the Plymouth Theater here, and on 55, they offered tickets go on sale or whatever. And my buddy and I pitched a tent in the ditch.
You did not for the Ben Affleck. You did not camp out for Ben Affleck.
No, in part, it was a joke. We were not all that enthusiastic about the movie, as it was more the experience, but I just was curious if Dean would have shared the enthusiasm for the expedition as I did for Pearl Harbor, the movie.
Absolutely. I mean, it's my second favorite place to be on the weekend is at the dealership. The first place is obviously on the trails, but
so one more on that then. If you could camp out for 8 Tay Swift tickets and she was just in town here, Dean, or if you could camp out for the expedition, what are you choosing there?
I would probably take the expedition. That's the easy one.
But probably you did leave some room there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have any more events coming up here throughout the summer, and how do you see the rest of the summer going in terms of the riding times?
So yeah, we got August 5th. We've partnered with a 4-wheeler club up in Roseau. So we're gonna be going way up by the border of Minnesota and Canada. We've got a ride up there that is another charity ride that we're helping out with. That one. It's called the Femme Fatale ride, and I've never rode my side-by-side or 4-wheeler up by Roseau. So they've got a huge Beltrami Island State Forest that has almost a couple hundred miles of trails. So it's gonna be a first for me, but I've heard it's really, really, really good riding. So we're going to do a little camping ride and join these guys for their Femme Fatale ride and raise a little bit of money for for whatever charity that they're supporting. They kind of bounce around. They do different charities every year. So this one will be different than the charity they supported last year, but they do the same thing. It's to show thanks to the communities that support ATVers.
Yeah, it's a cool. My sister-in-law, who is a former partner of mine here at MotoAlliance, she grew up in the Roseau area in the shadows of the original Polaris building up there, and so that was her whole life growing up. And I went up there once, and dude, there is just nothing but open space and woods and dirt roads and everything. So she was liable to have just timber wolves sitting out on her front step when she'd wake up in the morning. So it's you're gonna have to ride quick, I think, just to get away from the wildlife.
Well, I'm going to be camping up there, so that's not exactly the most positive reinforcement I wanted to hear, but that's all right. We'll deal with that.
Love it.
That's awesome. And how many of your vehicles did you bring on Ride the Shore? Because I know you've got a garage full.
So I only brought 2 this go around, but that was plenty because we had about 400 to 450 riders in attendance. So it got there was plenty of machines there, but that's the beauty of doing it up on the North Shore is there's 400, 500 miles of trails that you have access to. So we don't do big guided group rides. So it's kind of we print everybody a map and say, hey, make sure you check out this spot or this spot or this spot, and then turn people loose, and it goes pretty good.
So same vehicles going with you to Roseau, or are you going to pick a different one?
No, I'm going to bring the Ranger with the air conditioning up to Roseau.
Oh, there you go.
You got to be early August in Minnesota. You never know what you're going to get.
That's right.
So.
Love it. Well, we'd love to check in after the ride. Again, I know your time's a little short, so thanks for just checking in a bit on how the ride went, and just looking forward. There's so many different conversations to have as we get through the summer riding season with the winter coming and everything. So, Dean, just thanks for everything you do and all the ways in which you support us, too. We're just having a blast working with you guys, getting to know the community, the machines. It's been great.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the opportunity. We love working with you guys, and you guys are, growing the sport as fast as you can, and we love it. So it's an honor to work with you guys.
Great. We'll catch up soon. And K-Book, look forward to that again. But this has been fun, as always, talking with Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, guys.
All right. This has been the MotoAlliance podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you again next time.